The chances are, if you've been looking for a luxury limo, sort of executive car that you can just cruise from A to B in absolute comfort and style, then the Jaguar XJ's probably popped up on your list. And I think if this is something you're weighing up, then it's certainly well worth looking at. Now, the XJs, there's been 4 generations of the XJ, and they've long been a symbol of luxury and just, as I say, a way to get from A to B, but in absolute comfort and style. And obviously, along these 4 generations, they've come a very, very long way. It goes without saying, but this XJ, or this generation of XJ, is actually going to be the last one. The XJ spanned from 1968 to 2019. This particular model we have here is a 2017, so it's just 2 years before the complete end of them. So I do think there's still a real desire for these cars, especially now with them being no longer produced. Now, the XJ obviously came in many variations of trim levels, specification and whatnot. To make it simple, this example that I'm driving here is the Autobiography, which is the top spec, and you can't get higher than this. I think the chances are, if you're looking at an XJ, one of the main reasons you would buy a car like this is for the luxury that it provides, and I have to say, I'm loving it so far. You get things like diamond quilt leather in the Autobiography. You then get heated and cooled seats, which are massage function as well, and that's just to speak of the driver and passenger. But when we head into the rear, you get the same fantastic experience. So I think a lot of people think these cars are more to be driven in than to drive, but I think either way it works fantastically well. But as a thing to look at, I think the car is stunning. It's got the upgraded alloy wheels as part of the Autobiography trim. The shape and just sleeker lines of it, I think, work very, very well, and it's a car that flows effortlessly. I also think it's quite understated. From the exterior, you wouldn't really know what you're looking at, because though this is it's a luxury cruiser of a car, it's powered by a 3-litre diesel V6, this particular example. There were many different engines you could get, petrol and diesel, but make no mistake, though it is a big brute of a car, it does 0 to 60 in 5.9 seconds. It's got just under 300 brake horsepower, so you can be quite happily cruising along, but if you need to step on it, you absolutely can, and this car will put a smile on your face. It almost switches itself up, and it doesn't feel like you're driving a big car at all, not that it does normally anyway. You can put it in sport mode with the shift here, which by the way is a knurled chrome finish, and it'll basically hold the gears out longer, as most sport modes do, stiffen up the steering slightly. The throttle becomes more sensitive, and as I say, it's almost a different animal to drive. And a bit more to talk about the finish. Jaguars have always been synonymous with absolute high quality material, and I think the XJ is obviously the flagship luxury car, and that's why there's leather everywhere. The diamond quilt leather seats, the leather dashboard, even the headliner is leather. So as a place to be interior wise, you're not going to complain. The car then comes with ambient lighting, so if I switch the lights on, you'll see the ambient lights illuminate just around the air vents there. You've then got the centerpiece XJ clock, which again illuminates, and even in the little cubby holes here, you get a nice little strip of illumination. Now, when I was doing the pictures of this car and getting it ready to go online, I was just playing about with the whole car, and I opened up the Dallamires here, because the Autobiographies, we've had a lot of XJs through, we get a lot of Jaguars through, we do very well with them. We have guys on that are ex-Jaguar, but the Autobiography in particular it's not all that easy to get hold of. Currently, at the time of recording, there was only 8 for sale on Auto Trader. We've got arguably the best one, though I am a little biased in saying that. But what I was saying is, if I open the cubby hole here, you'll see it's velvet lined, which I just think is fantastic and something I didn't quite expect. But again, it's part of the Autobiography trim and something quite quirky. Other features you get on the interior of an XJL Autobiography. So I mentioned the seats, heated, cooled, massage. The steering wheel is then heated as well. So on a day like today, when it's just miserable, raining, you can cruise along in happy comfort. it doesn't feel like I'm driving a big car, and I think that's helped by the technology that comes with this. So it's got things like blind spot information. When you're parking the car, it's actually got self-park functionality. Not that I've tested it out yet, I never trust these things, but you can, and it works perfectly as it should. It's then got 360 park degree sensors, as well as a reverse camera. So, as I say, it is a big car, but it doesn't feel like it when you're driving it, and it is also effortless to drive. Now, our example is just under 47,000 miles, which is actually 16,000 less than the average of the same car in the same year. So it's very low miles for what it is. It's then, of course, got a full service history to back it up. We actually purchased the car for a gentleman very local to us, and again, he loved it for the same reason we do. But I think for the money, an example like this, with this miles on it, low miles, you can pick up for less than £30,000. And weighing that up against similar cars, similar other luxury executive saloons, the Jaguar is probably the one that does it the best. The drive of it is very seamless and smooth. And as I say, the power's there as well, so if you do need to switch it up and put your foot down, then you absolutely can. Now the screen you get on this, that's how you control your seats, the massage functionality, the heated and cooled functionality, but it's then quite intuitive as well. It does have Apple CarPlay if you want. You actually plug that in your velvet lined cubby hole and that'll link it up. But then if you don't want to use that, it's got the normal navigation system, it's got all the normal stuff that you would expect, but it's quite up to date in what it does. On the past ones it was a little slow, I thought, a little not the easiest to use, but on this example it's the updated one and it's very, very intuitive. Now the seats, as well as being massaged, heated and cooled, that's all around. That's not just for the driver. So I think the thing with this car is it to drive or is it to be driven in? But with the experience being similar for all the passengers all around, it's equally as exciting wherever you are. But to speak a little more on the experience you'd get in the rear, you've got rear picnic benches. You've then got the seats, as I say, are massage and heated and cooled and whatnot. The centre seat folds down. There is 3 seats in the back, but the centre seat will fold down, and that has your remote control in for the TVs, which are in the rear. They've got their own headphones, but to speak a bit of the audio itself, it's Meridian reference. So if you don't have the headphones on, it's a very good speaker system regardless. And from the rear screens, you can do everything you can do from the front, but you can also watch television, CDs and whatnot on the rear screens. You've got your own remote, as I say, for that. The velvet line hole is not just exclusive to the front, you also get that in the rear. So yeah, it's fantastic, and that's my favourite part. But just again, as a place to be, it's panoramic roof for the front and the rear. So if I push that one there, you'll see it slides across, and that's in the ivory suede finish, with the headliner being the leather I spoke about. Other buttons, you're probably going to see a lot of other buttons and stuff, wondering what they do in this car. So buttons here, that's for the tilt and slide of the panoramic sunroof, but then it's got this button here. Now the middle button is the party trick one, because what that does, if I push that, it actually raises the rear electronic window blind. So it's got privacy glass all around, but the rear window, you have your own electronic sun blind, so you can push that, and basically in addition to the privacy glass, it's got an extra layer because it's got that electronic sun blind, so it is blackout. And for the moments where you want a little extra privacy, then you've got it. The side windows also get additional privacy blinds as well. But yeah, it's a place to be, and just as a luxury limo, it just absolutely fits the bill. Now the XJL, it's probably not aimed at someone my age, is it? If we're being honest, but still, as a thing to drive and to be in, I absolutely love it, and I can't see a reason why it's not a car that can be enjoyed by everyone. I think it's got the nimbleness, with the 0 to 60 being just 5.9 seconds, just under 300 brake horsepower. It's a lot of power at your feet if you need it, but then with the luxury and just comfort of driving this car, it would be an absolute pleasure to drive something like this every day, or indeed be driven around in it. Let me step out of the rain and into the comfort of my XJL. So this is how the rear seats are. I mean, what a place to be. Now, similarities that we spoke about to the front. You have fully electronic seats. I can control the lumbar support I can control the tilt of the back, and this is for both either passengers. You then also get memory function, which is just incredibly uncommon to have in the rear seats of a car, but this one does have it. I think then the party trick is the opening screen. If I push that button there, you'll see the screen simply folds up, and this isn't a little sort of tiny screen either. It's massive. Now I should be sat on the other seat actually, because the one functionality you get in that seat that you don't in this seat is there's one unique button on this side of the armrest here. If I push that F button there, what it'll do is it'll let me control the seat in front of me, so the front passenger seat. So I push the F and it lights up like that. I can then use the same controls I would use to control my seat here, and it'll let me fully control the seat in front. So obviously don't do that when you've got someone sat in there, because it wouldn't be very comfortable for them. But the reason for that is that you can extend the leg room that is provided, basically to get a lot more room, and it makes it much easier to watch television and have leg room for your picnic table. The seats in the back are then also heated and cooled. The way you control them is slightly different. It's on the centre console here, so you get your own rear air conditioning with dual climate control, by the way, and then, as I say, heated and cooled. The massage functionality is controlled by these little buttons here. You've got all the same controls that you had in the front. So yeah, an incredible place to be. Now you'll see at the moment there's quite a lot of natural light getting through, which is nice, don't get me wrong, but let's say you want a little more privacy. The rear windows actually have an electronic window blind, like we spoke about with the rear window, but if I push that up, as you'll see, it lifts up in privacy glass on the outside, of course, extra additional privacy blind, and then I can do the same for the rear window, because as well as the front drive being able to control that, I can as well. So if I push that, it's going to lift the rear window blind up, and then I can also shut the panoramic roof privacy blind. So all of a sudden I've gone to a much more stealth, darker, moodier place to be, and I can sit in just absolute comfort and privacy. So for them moments when you want or need a little more privacy in the rear seats, then you've got it. As well as having all the controls for the seats on here, you can actually lift this seat out of the way, and it does actually become a third seat, so very usable. But I think it's much cooler with it down. So if I push this open here, that's where you get the controls for the television. And I think we spoke about it in the front, but this is the got the purple velvet line in the rear as well, which is one of the highlights in my opinion. It's also got twin USB cables, HDMI cable for the screens. If you want to hook something up, you can do that. But then to use the screens themselves, you can control both the screens or just one of them. So I just want to watch something on this, so what I'll do, I'll push the on button there. I then press the right screen because that's the one I want to use. You'll then see that it lights up and you can control everything you want from this remote here. So you've got seats, you can control the seats from the screen, as well as indeed the centre console there. Temperature and massage, I go back a step. I've got media, which has got the radio on. You get your own headphones with the televisions as well. So it's got radio, television and media library. If you do hook up your own music or whatever, you can do that. And then you can even control your air conditioning from the screen as well, and navigation, so you can keep a track on your chauffeur driver, make sure he's not making you late. So if you are looking for an XJL and one of the highest specification, then the XJL Autobiography is certainly a very serious contender, and this example here is probably one you should consider looking at. But if you would like any more information at all on this car, it is for sale, then contact me. My name is Will. I'll be happy to show you the car, take you on a drive and show you some of the features, luxury and power that this car comes with. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you next time.